channel. My name is Rupinder, aka Makeup by Rups, and I'm here because I love makeup. I've loved makeup from a very young age. I've taught myself how to do makeup. I want to teach you all the tricks that I've learned over the years, and I want to go into a lot of detail into the techniques that I use and the products I use and why I use those products. So what I want to do is try to share as much detail as possible with you on my channel. So coming up is my first video on how to highlight and contour. I'm going to be using both cream contour products and highlight products, as well as powder highlight and contour products. So without any more introduction, let's go straight into the video. Right, so let's get started. Is it acceptable to drink my coffee in a YouTube video? The first thing you want to do before you put on any makeup is to put on a good moisturiser. Makeup just does not go on very nicely if your skin is dry. It tends to absorb the product, making your foundation look patchy. And if you are like me and the skin underneath your eyes are very dry, then I would also recommend that you use a good eye cream. The next step I like to do is apply a primer. Now my favourite primer is the Benefit's Professional. It looks like this. This primer is so good for minimising large pores. It's got a velvety texture, so the makeup goes on really smoothly on top of this, and it just helps to mattify the skin, and it just creates a really nice base for you to start with. So you don't need to apply this product everywhere. You want to apply this product in the areas where your pores are largest. So for me, this is on the top of my forehead, on my nose, my upper lip, a little bit on my chin, and just the tops of my cheeks just here. Just need to squeeze out the product if it comes out. So you only need a little bit of this product. I've got like a pea size amount on my finger here, and I'm just going to put it into the areas that I feel like I need it the most. Just the tops of my cheekbones. Bit of my coffee. As my next step, I am actually going to apply another primer. This primer works slightly differently to the Professional, which is why I am using it on top. The primer I'm talking about is the Laura Mercier Foundation Primer in Radiance Bronze. So my skin can look quite dull in complexion, and what this primer will help to do is just lift my natural skin and just help to very naturally even out my skin tone before I go ahead with my foundation. I'm just going to dab this on. Right, now we can get onto the actual makeup. So the first step in the makeup application for me is to correct certain areas of my skin that need correcting. I've got uneven skin tone. I've got a darker area around my mouth here. I've got darker circles underneath my eyes, and just on my forehead I do find my skin is slightly darker in that area. So what I want to do is use a corrector first to neutralize those darker areas. And the way I do that is by using an orange corrector, because the orange tone just helps to cancel out darker brown pigmentation. So the product I'm going to use is a pencil from illamasqua. It is actually a multi-use, multi-purposed. It's a multi-use pencil. It's called a medium pencil. It's for eyes, lips, face and body, and it's in the colour Thrash. You only want to put corrector in the places that your skin is patchier or it is darker in pigmentation. So just a bit around there. Just a little bit on my forehead on the sides here. So only do this step if your skin actually needs correcting. Don't be persuaded by those annoying people on Instagram that have flawless skin, no hyperpigmentation, and they've got all the colours of the corrector wheel on their face, okay? No one likes those people. Don't waste your money on a product that you don't need. So now I do want to blend this out very slightly just to kind of minimise the orangeness. I'm going to use a beauty blender to do this. So you want to make sure your beauty blender is damp. The way to use a beauty blender is to pounce the blender over the skin as opposed to dragging it like this. So now we've got that slightly softened, the next step is to apply our foundation. Now I am going to use the Makeup Forever HD Stick Foundation in the very catchy name of 153 equals Y405. It's difficult. So this is a cream foundation. It is medium to full coverage, but if you want to go lighter, you just apply less of the product, and if you want to go heavier, then you apply more. So I think the easiest way to apply this foundation is straight from the stick onto the face, so you just stripe it on. So that is what we're going to do. So now I've applied a very light layer of that foundation. It's now time to blend it out. So to blend this out, I'm going to use a brush by Real Techniques. I think it's their foundation brush, but it doesn't say the name on the actual brush. I'm pretty sure it is their foundation brush. What I like about this brush is that it's dense, but it's got some fluffiness to it as well. So it just really helps to blend and buff product in without your foundation going all streaky. So the way I blend in my foundation is to kind of push the foundation into the skin in like a buffing motion, as opposed to swiping it around. And then whatever's left on my brush, I do like to just bring it down onto my neck, just to make sure my face and my neck match. So now we've blended out our foundation. Be careful not to blend it into your hairline like I have just done and accentuated all my grey hairs. Let's just ignore them. Let's try. So once we've blended out our foundation, the next step is to conceal and to highlight. What is the point of highlighting, I hear you ask? Highlighting is essentially just using a concealer that is slightly lighter than your natural skin tone to accentuate certain areas of your face and features of your face that you want to accentuate. So like the top of our cheekbones is a common area to highlight, underneath our eyes are a common area to highlight because we want to brighten up those areas of our face. And highlighting is also used to make certain areas of your face appear larger. So for example, if you have a small forehead like mine, then you want to concentrate more highlighting on your forehead area because it gives the illusion that your forehead is bigger. And vice versa, say if your forehead is slightly larger, then you want to concentrate less highlighting on your forehead and concentrate more on contouring, which we'll come on to next. So for my concealing and highlighting, I'm actually going to use a couple of different concealers. The first concealer I'm going to use is by MAC. It's their Pro Longwear Concealer. And I'm going to use the colour NC42 first. And what I want to do with this is just to further brighten the areas of pigmentation underneath my eyes, around my mouth, and a little bit on my forehead. And the second concealer I'm going to use is actually a lot lighter than my skin tone, maybe a couple of shades lighter. It's the Ardere Cosmetics Flawless Concealer, and I'm going to use number 4. Because this is lighter than my skin tone, I am going to use this as my highlighter to highlight the tops of my cheekbones mainly, maybe a little bit in my centre of my forehead and my chin area. So using my MAC Pro Longwear first, I'm going to pump out the product. It comes with a little pump. I'm going to pump up the product on the back of my hand, a couple of little pumps. Only need a little bit really. And I am going to apply this with my beauty blender. I'm going to dip it straight into the product on the back of my hand and apply this directly onto the areas that I want to conceal first. So mainly under my eyes. I'm dabbing the beauty blender in as opposed to swiping it around. This just helps to push the product in and it helps to minimise the appearance of my wrinkles. I'm just going to add this to the centre of my forehead. So now I'm going to use my Ardere Cosmetics Concealer to further brighten areas of my face. Just open it up and it has an applicator that you can use directly onto your skin. This product is very heavy coverage, it's really pigmented, so you don't need a lot of this. I'm literally going to dab on just at the tops of my cheekbones. I'm just dabbing this concealer on. So again, taking my beauty blender, I'm just going to dab this product into the areas that I've already applied it, and whatever's left on the beauty blender I am just going to bring it up into underneath my eyes. So once we get to this stage, yes, we're going to look a bit ghostly. Don't worry, we're going to go on to contouring next, which is going to help to warm up our face and to sculpt certain areas of our face. So obviously one of the most common areas to contour are our cheekbones. Now all we are doing there is adding a shadow underneath where our natural cheekbone sits to help the cheekbone pop. That's all that we are doing. Other areas to contour are our noses, and that's to help refine our noses and give a nose a different shape entirely. And other areas that we contour around, like the perimeter of our faces, that's to add dimension to the face, and maybe our jawlines, and that's to maybe minimize the jawline if you've got quite a heavy jawline. So the product I'm going to use is the Pro Conceal by LA Girl in the color Beautiful Bronze. So I really like these concealers because A, they're cheap. I think they're like £4 or something from Amazon. They're really good quality. They blend in really nicely. They're really nice and creamy, and they suit most skin tones. So you want to apply this product just under where your natural cheekbones sit. So your cheekbone will start kind of from the top of your ear up here, and you'll feel where the bone kind of sits, and it will come down onto the apples of the cheek, kind of towards the edge of your mouth here. So I'm going to start at the top of my cheekbone and lightly sketch out this line. I'm not going to connect the line all the way down to the edge of my mouth, but I'm just going to let it trail off. So to blend this out, I'm going to use another brush by Real Techniques. It's their sculpting brush. It looks like this. It's already got a really nice angle to the brush, which will help to blend this area out because it kind of nicely sits in that area anyway. Place the brush along this contour line that you've created. Blend the line up and down. I like to start with the top of the line here and blend up into my hairline. Then I like to bring the brush down towards my cheek and then blending all the time into the hairline as opposed to blending down. It just helps to keep the line looking a little bit cleaner. Now I'm lightly pressing with this brush. I'm not going too hard. I don't want to wipe the product away completely, but I obviously do want to blend the line enough so that it's not a line anymore. So the other areas that I like to contour are just at the top of my forehead here. Just to add some warmth in that area and add some more dimension to my forehead, which the highlighting and the foundation can kind of take away. A little bit on my chin, just a little bit underneath my mouth. This helps to give a nice pouty look. And a little bit in here. And I'm going to come onto my nose in just a sec. So again, using my sculpting brush from Real Techniques, I'm just going to blend this all out. Starting with my hairline, the way I like to blend this out is concentrate the blending at the top of the hairline. And then whatever's left on the brush, then I will bring it down very slightly onto the rest of my forehead where it meets the highlighted area. So now onto perhaps the most trickiest area to contour, and that is our nose. I have to admit, I don't do a lot of nose contouring because I just feel like there's no real hope for my nose. But what I do like to do is just try to refine the tip of my nose. We add a couple of very fine parallel lines just at the top of our nose to help give the illusion that our nose is slimmer. So we're kind of creating a whole new nose on top of our actual nose, if that's possible. Try to keep these lines as straight and as thin as possible because you don't want to create a big smudge on your nose and then make it look actually bigger. And I like to create a little cut-off point at the bottom of my nose here. So this is kind of giving the illusion that my nose actually stops here as opposed to down here. So to blend this out, I'm going to use a brush by MAC. It is the 287 brush. It's a dual fiber type brush, just really lightweight, very good for blending. What you want to do is concentrate your blending along this line. Try not to bring the contour down your side of your nose here, because what you're going to do is create the illusion that your nose is actually wider. I just like to very lightly brush this line up and down, bringing it up onto the bridge of my nose. And this line, I just like to blend this away. The next stage is to set our base with powders. Your base will not last very long if you don't set it with a powder. The first powder I'm going to use is the Laura Mercier. Hairs all over me. Molting. So the first powder I'm going to use is the Laura Mercier translucent powder. It comes in a tub like this, and I'm just going to use this as a very first layer all over my face, just to set all the cream products. The next powder I am going to use is the MAC Studio Fix powders. They are pressed powders in a compact. These are heavy coverage powders. They are foundation powders in one. So not only is it going to set your foundation even further, but it is going to give you extra coverage. Using the colour C40 in the Studio Fix powder, I'm using this Real Techniques brush, this fluffy tapered brush I think it is. How I like to use this powder is press it into the skin as opposed to swiping it around and around my mouth. And here's where we kind of soften the nose contour slightly. So I like to go over the whole nose with this powder just to calm down the nose contour. So now I'm going to show you how to use some of the powder contour products that are out there. So the contour kit that I've got is the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit. It's got your highlight colours at the top here and it's got your contour colours at the bottom. So I like to start with the highlight areas, and for me the best highlight colour is this yellow kind of banana colour in the middle. So again, using my fluffy tapered brush from Real Technique, and go over the areas again where I've already highlighted with the cream products. So again, underneath my eyes, around my mouth, kind of down the bridge of my nose, and again in between my forehead. So going on to my powder contour, the colours that I like to use out of this palette are a combination of these two. This one's nice and warm and I just feel like it complements my skin tone the best. So I'm going to apply these contour colours using a MAC brush. They're angled contour brush, I believe. So I'm just going to dip into both of these colours here. If you do have the Anastasia contour kit, these contour powders are very pigmented, so you want to go easy with these. Just tap off the excess to avoid applying too much product to the face. So I like to concentrate the product at the top of the hair into my hairline, and whatever's left on the brush, I then bring it down onto my cheek very slightly, just to warm up the cheeks. And again, whatever is left on the brush, I will just go over the top of my hairline. So the last two steps are applying a shimmer highlighter and our blusher. For shimmer highlighter, I'm going to use the Ardere Cosmetics Flawless Highlighter in gold and peach. So it has two different colours in there. It's got a gold kind of colour on this side and a more of a peachy, warmer colour on that side. And I like to mix the two and use these together. And the areas that I like to apply my shimmer highlighter to are just the tops of my cheekbones. So just right at the top here. And a little bit on my forehead and a little bit on my chin. And then using my finger, I do like to apply some on my nose. Got a little bit on my finger here, and I do like to just apply just a little bit on the tip of my nose and down the bridge of my nose. So for my blusher, I am going to use MAC's Buff. It's a really nice matte, very light pink colour. It's very natural. So I'm going to use this colour. I'm going to use it with my angle brush from MAC again. And where you want to add blush is in between our shimmer highlighter and our contour. And I concentrate the blusher first at the top of my cheekbone. And then whatever's left on the brush, I then smile and apply it just to the apples of my cheeks. So that's all our base makeup done. I'm now just going to speed through the rest of my makeup and I'll be back in just a sec. So that was it. I hope you liked this video. I hope you learned something. If you did, then please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you didn't like it, sorry, and hopefully I'll do better next time. Hopefully I will see you on my next video. So I did it to you, bounce to the left. Give me any